guys, thanks for joining in tonight. Tonight we are going to discuss intermittent fasting for today's aging woman and specifically touch on the aging process and how intermittent fasting can help us actually slow down. And in some arenas with intermittent fasting, there have been some studies that actually show that it can actually reverse the aging process. So if you are new, my name is Diane, and for the past 25 years, I have been helping women find nutrition plans and fitness programs to help them look and feel their best and live their most authentic life. And for me, over the past couple of years, intermittent fasting has done just that. So if you are new, welcome. Consider hitting that like button and making sure that you get notified when I go live so you don't miss any future broadcasts. And if you're catching this on a replay or on YouTube, please consider subscribing. I upload new videos just about every morning. So we're going to get started. There's a lot of information here, and I also want to make sure that I touch base on the fact that you all know that I am not a doctor, and I am not a nutritionist, and I'm not a healthcare provider. I am just a woman who hit her 50s and for the last couple years really did struggle with some illnesses that weren't, I wasn't expecting to suffer from them. I was diagnosed with pre-diabetes. I was insulin resistant. I had some thyroid issues going on. I'm pretty sure I was suffering from some sort of autoimmune disorder, but I decided to kind of take measures into my own hands, and instead of taking the prescriptions that my doctor handed me when I walked out of his office, I decided to fix my body with some nutritional changes and really studying some of the things that were going on in regards to intermittent fasting, and took about 2 years to study it, took about a year of experimenting with it, and after that time, I am no longer pre-diabetic. I am no longer insulin resistant. I just was able to lose that haunting 10 pounds that landed on my body as soon as I hit my late 40s and early 50s, that no matter how much I dieted or how much I exercised would just not go away. So I can tell you that I am proof that intermittent fasting does work, and these concepts are true and real if you can put your body into a true fasting state and reap the benefits of what fat adaptation can do for you, and what fasting has been proven to do when you can do it intermittently and flexibly so that you can incorporate it into your lifestyle and learn to really live a healthy life around food and stop being kind of, haunted with what the dieting protocols are and being restricted from living a life that's happy around food. So we're going to get started here. One of the things that I think is most interesting about intermittent fasting and the aging process, and aging to me is, it's not really like old age. Aging to me is just when things start to change in your body and you're noticing hormonal changes that that may need outside help for you to get them back on track. So it could be a woman in her childbearing years who may be having some infertility issues. It could be a woman in her 40s who's going through some like early onset perimenopausal issues. It could be someone who has Alzheimer's in their family and they're noticing that they're having some memory issues, like the sudden need for reading glasses. Like all of those things are part of the aging process. So aging doesn't necessarily mean we have to be of old age. Aging to me just means that for some reason, our body is at a point where whatever we're doing in our lifestyle is starting to break us down. And we need to take very serious thought into that, because if we don't pay attention to it, we will be broken down and aged, or we can sit up and start to do some research and take control back of those things and really reverse the damage that has been done, and we can add some years back into our life. So I sort of noticed some things with my memory was first, where I remember a very clear conversation I had with my husband, and I told him that I was very afraid because I could look straight on to my kids, look them dead in the eye, and not be able to recall their name. These were kids that I carried in my body for 10 months. I gave birth to them. They have been living in my house every day for their entire life. and I could not recall their names and get them from my brain to my mouth. And I think that was the scariest moment for me, because things like forgetting your keys and not knowing where you put your cell phone and forgetting where you put your car, parked your car when you went to Target, like those are all things we laugh about as like, oh yeah, it happens. And for me, when I go shopping, I was that person that parked my car by the same shopping cart return every time I was shopping, because if I didn't, I would have to walk around to the parking lot, you know, with the alarm kind of beeping it, if you've ever done that, like hoping that you can hear your car alarm so you can find your car, and be in a total panic. Like that was the woman that I was in my mid to late 40s. And all of that was because of the hormonal changes that were going in my body, and because I was insulin resistant. And so that just basically means that my body is running off glycogen and sugars, and I never get to that point of burning fat. And our brains actually work off what is called ketones. And ketones are produced in our body when we are a fat-burning body. So if you're not at that level where you can burn fat for energy and burn fat to fuel your body, and you're just running off sugars and glycogen, and you're doing that because you're insulin resistant and your body's just firing off all this glucose all the time, then that's when Alzheimer's starts to set in. Along with what happens to our body when we don't get to that fat burning stage is we have glucose readily available first, we burn through that, and then we have our fat and we burn through that second. And then we have a process called autophagy, and I've talked about that before, and that's the process in which our body has the ability to burn off old, dead, damaged protein cells. And if you know anything about cancer, cancer is just damaged old cells. And so if we can get ourselves to that point of clearing up our brain by getting to the point of burning off glycogen and tapping into fat stores, which produce ketones, which fuel our brain, and then can get to the point where we can get into that autophagy state, where we can burn off those old damaged cells, that is what is called reversing the aging process. And all of this can be done with what is called intermittent fasting. So I know a lot of times when we talk about fasting, the first thing that we think, and I know I thought this myself, was I sort of gasped and thought, how could I go days without food? And then as I started studying intermittent fasting, I learned that the word intermittent means that you can change your fasting schedule to suit your lifestyle. So I've done one really long fast by my book, which was 30 hours, but there's people who've been fasting for days. And in the time frame that I've really learned how to become a fat adaptive body, which means I no longer burn sugar and I burn body fat to fuel my system, I don't forget things. I don't have to park my car by the cart return at Target every time. I'm getting better about my keys, but I think that just might be a me thing and not so much my brain. My phone is easy to find. Like, I am not walking aimlessly around my house, walking into a room and not remembering why I'm there. And it's all changing because of the fact that I am now fueling my brain with what it needs to function properly at this stage of my life, and that's ketones, and ketones are produced by fat burning. So that is what all this like hype is about with intermittent fasting, because it truly is that thing that if we understand and can really learn how to intermittent fast correctly and safely for our own bodies, that we can reverse all of these things that start happening to us as we age. And I'm going to go out on a limb, and I know I got criticized last time I talked about this, but there's just way too much research out there to not touch on this. And that is the fact that there are doctors out there who are studying and experimenting and using things like intermittent fasting and getting people to that point of autophagy where you can actually put your body in a position where not so much that it cures cancer, because intermittent fasting doesn't cure anything. All that intermittent fasting does is it allows your body to cure itself. And if you think about the concept of not constantly putting food into your body and giving your body an opportunity to sort of just take the energy that it has, that it produces itself, to keep your body functioning and to actually have an opportunity to take the energy that it naturally produces and use it to cure itself, as opposed to constantly breaking down food that you're putting in every 2 hours when you're following that diet plan that someone else developed for you, then your body has the energy stores to actually cure itself. And it also has that opportunity to get in there and really tap into those old damaged protein cells that just sort of sit as a layer on our body, like a layer of pollution. And that's what's causing us to become mentally sick with Alzheimer's disease, and what it's causing us to have those damaged, unused cells that can, for some people, turn into cancer. And so I take all of this information and I think to myself, okay, if someone tells me if I go out into the sun and I put sunscreen on, there's this opportunity that I'm going to lower my chances of getting skin cancer or a sunburn, then we do that in the hopes that in the long run, that's not going to happen to us. And so the way I have been approaching intermittent fasting, and the way I'm teaching the women who are joining my intermittent fasting groups, is what if, just what if, in the process of learning how to intermittent fast, you can have more mental clarity, you can have more energy, you can sleep better at night, you can burn off some body fat naturally, and there's that possibility that if you can truly learn how to intermittent fast the correct way and learn how to do it so it can last your lifetime, that there's an opportunity that you can burn off some of those dead, unwanted cells that your body no longer needs anymore, that could just sit around and turn into something bad. If there's just a slim chance that could happen, would it be worth it? And to me, I always say yes. Because all of those things that I have read about as far as the aging process and the health benefits that you get from intermittent fasting are happening. For the first time in 2 years, I have weighed less than I've weighed in probably 5 or 6 years now that I think about it, without having to starve myself, without having to be on a diet, without having to exercise my body into the ground, because I've turned my body into what it's supposed to be, which is a fat burning machine. Like, we are designed to be able to live off of our own body fat as an energy source. And when you can do that, then you start pushing into that process with intermittent fasting, where you can actually reverse the aging process. Your skin's going to clear up. You won't have to spend as much money on skincare. Your hair is going to be better. Your nails are going to be better. Your gut health will be better. Your energy will be better. You won't have to eat as much food, because the amount of time that you create in your eating window will provide you with enough food that's going to sustain you. And then as you turn your body into that fat burning machine, that's going to sustain you for the rest. So intermittent fasting is really that thing that is, I call it like the fountain of youth, or the magic pill that can reverse the aging process. And I can say that because I'm living proof that it does work. 2 years ago, I felt like an old, broken down woman, and it was sad for me that I thought that 47 and on was going to be a point where I was going to just have to live with feeling like I was old and broken down, and my life was just going to start to slip away from me. And now at 50, that I've corrected all the things that were going wrong with me, and I've learned how to adapt to a new way of life around food. And trust me, there's no food that I go without. The only exceptions that I ever make are I don't eat food that doesn't make me feel and look my best. But other than that, everything's a go. And I don't diet, and I don't starve myself. And I have literally like turned over a whole new leaf on life as far as where I'm going to go from 50 on. And there was a point where I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to like have the energy to run around with grandkids, and now I'm doing more than I ever have. So the proof is out there. Like, don't trust what I say. I would do some research what autophagy is and what doctors are using that concept. It's a concept that our body does on its own. It's not a pill you have to take. It's not prescription you have to go get filled at Walgreens. It's what we do. It's what our body is meant to do to cure and heal itself. We have just sort of stepped in the way of that with the fact that we're following all these guidelines that were set up by food industries and medical industries and all these industries that get their money from us feeding ourselves and being sick. There have been about 3 women now in my intermittent fasting group in this month, the month of April. We're in day number 5, and we already have people coming back from their doctor's offices with their doctors absolutely amazed at the changes that they have made since their last visit till now, and we're in day 5 of intermittent fasting. Women are reporting in that they're sleeping better, that they have more energy, that they are not fantasizing about food anymore. They are going 16, 18 hours in a fast easily. And it's all because they're learning what the process of intermittent fasting is and how to make it work for their life and understanding what their hormones are doing to keep them in a sick state and what we can do to our hormones so that they can keep us in a wellness state. So I highly recommend that you guys do some research, look up autophagy, look up what intermittent fasting is doing for people. Try to avoid the fitness community when you research intermittent fasting. You'll get a whole nother scenario of information when you go there. Really try to stay on the health care side of intermittent fasting and what the health community is doing for people who are incorporating intermittent fasting into their life. There's nothing that you have to lose except a lot of fat, a lot of worry about what your future is, and maybe a couple trips to the pharmacy to get some prescriptions filled, because it will be that thing that can get you truly back on track to living your healthiest and most energetic life. Is there any questions that you guys have about anything that I have to say about this? So let me see, I need my glasses. The only thing intermittent fasting hasn't done for me is helped my reading glasses situation, and I don't know what's going to be able to do that for me. Let's see. Ingrid, what did you just say? Let's see. Okay. I don't really see any other, I don't see any questions. I'm on my lunch break. Okay, cool. Okay, so I know I've been talking your ears off every night about intermittent fasting, but I really do try to just leak out little bits of information so that you guys will get the confidence to give it a go. It really is super easy to jump into. It's probably the easiest sort of style of eating that I've ever explained to or worked with women, and I've been doing this for 25 years. I've said to some women that I've talked to that I feel like I have to call every woman that I've ever helped lose weight and apologize to them for putting their body in such a sick state today. And we've done it to ourselves, but we've done it innocently. The eating every 2 to 3 hours will at some point make you sick. We don't know when that's going to be. For women, it's usually when they go through some hormonal changes. And it's just because what food does in our body and how our body operates and what we do with hunger is all interconnected with hormones. And so when we have that chemical change, everything in our body changes. And if you have the inability to lose weight, then you're most likely insulin resistant, which basically means that your body's going to keep producing that glycogen and you're not going to ever be able to burn it all off. So you'll never get to the point where you can burn fat. And if you can't get to the point of burning fat, you're not going to get to that point of clearing out those dead cells in your brain. And you're not going to get to that point of clearing out those dead and damaged cells in your body. And you're just setting yourself up for at some point down the road, something's going to happen that's going to break down and make you sick. It's worth taking a chance on. It's worth taking a risk with. Like I said, the women who I have in my group are definitely noticing results already, and it's week 5. And I would say for the most part, I know there's a couple of them on here. I don't know if they want to comment on anything, but for most of them, it's been pretty easy of a transition. We have a couple of days that we feel a little down, and I can't spill the beans because they're going to get why that is tomorrow in our training group. But your body has to go through the process of switching over energy sources, and that takes a toll on us. Our bodies are lazy if we let them be, And so if we constantly feed our bodies and we constantly are giving them an opportunity to produce glycogen through those insulin spikes, then our body will take the easy route and it'll just burn insulin, just burn glucose, and it won't search out fat. It's work for our body to get to the point of finding that fat. And if you can get it to that point, and you stop producing all that glycogen and you can get rid of that insulin resistance, then burning fat off your body is very easy to do, and it will fuel you like nobody's business. Like, you will have so much energy you won't even know what to do. And once you get to that point of feeling that energy, then you know you're in that fat adaptive stage, and the stage right after that is that autophagy stage, and you can get yourself to the point where you can really become proactive about keeping your body healthy and fighting off all those internal type diseases that we usually don't know we have until it's almost too late. So I say take a chance. Like, take a chance that this is going to work for you. And worst case scenario, you're going to have a really slamming body for the summer, and you're going to feel really energized. And if nothing else comes of it, like, that's a win right there. My next group does start May 8th. I am already taking reservations for that spot, and there are already people signing up. So I'm pretty sure that that course is going to sell out as well. This course in April sold out in 7 days. So if you are interested in being coached into intermittent fasting, then I would highly recommend that you get signed up for my May group and reserve your spot. Everything can be found in the link I will post below, so you can get access to that. Or you can send in some information with your email address, and I will contact you and answer any questions you have if you have questions before you want to join. One of the key things about joining sort of a support group with intermittent fasting are these points. There is a time during intermittent fasting, and it's usually day 2 or day 3, sometimes it's day 4, where you do not feel your best because your body is going through a chemical change for burning fat. It's going from a sugar burning body to a fat burning body. And that causes you to not feel so good. That is the time that most people quit intermittent fasting, and they're only a couple days in. Because if you don't feel good, then it's got to be a bad thing. The sad part about that is right over one more day, like usually it's the very next day after you feel your worst, you're going to absolutely feel your best, like better than you have in years. But most people don't get to that point because they just don't know what's going on with your body. They don't understand the hormonal change. They don't understand the chemical change. And so they quit. And they're literally one night's sleep away from feeling amazing. And having someone teach you what the benefits are of intermittent fasting and what it truly means to become a fat adaptive body, and how to manage a fasting window correctly and an eating window correctly. And there's so much misinformation out on the internet that if you follow someone and you don't know what they're saying to be true, or maybe it just doesn't work for your particular body, then you'll be discouraged and you'll quit right before you had an opportunity to do something truly amazing for your body that you can have last an entire lifetime. So if it's not me that you feel comfortable with joining, I highly, like, I don't even know how many times I could say that to get that through to you. Find someone that you can connect with that can coach you through intermittent fasting correctly and teach you what it means for your body to be truly in a fasted state and truly in an eating window, so that you can become fat adaptive and then go on to become like a body that can be in that autophagy state and really cure yourself and heal yourself. It takes a good solid month to get to that point where you're really confident and you can kind of go on your own. And then when you get really good at intermittent fasting, you can jump in and out. You can go on vacation and not fast and come back and fast and jump right back in and see the benefits again. So it's not something that you have to do. It's not something that you can fail at. It's something you either choose to do or you do not choose to do, and that's all up to you. Another key point I want to share with you before I jump off, and what you're looking for when you're looking for a mentor or a coach or a guide to intermittent fasting, is find someone that's willing to allow you the flexibility and the freedom to pick your own food and create your own intermittent fasting window. There's no right way and there's no wrong way to fast unless you're just not truly in a fasted state. So if all you can handle is skipping breakfast and having a 12-hour fasting window and it works for you, then that's not wrong. That's right for you, and no one should tell you any different. If you're the type of person that loves a certain kind of food and you can't imagine your life without it, then that means that that's a good food for you, and no one should tell you any differently. So the big thing to look for in this time frame of nutrition and health and aging is to find someone who's going to allow you to do it your way and not preach to you when something is right and something is wrong. And the reason you want to look for that is because you want to be able to do this for the long haul. And we as women especially have deprived ourselves for way too long with all the really fun and good things in life because we were told they were bad for us. And they're not necessarily bad for us as a whole, they're just bad for certain people. And what's bad for me may not be bad for you, and I don't have a right to preach to you what you are and aren't allowed to eat. And like my husband tells me, you know, you're 50 years old, you should be able to pick what food you want to eat. And he's so right. We should be able to do that. And you should determine what foods you want to eat and how you want to eat based on how you want to look and how you want to feel so that you can live your most authentic life. There's enough body shaming going on, and there's enough criticisms going on for women that we don't need to create that environment for ourselves. So if you are interested and you think that I might be the one that can get you into that intermittent fasting lifestyle and something that you can incorporate for yourself for a lifetime, like I said, I'll include the link below. Registration for my May 8th group is open, and it's already filling up. So if you do want to jump into a group and be coached on how to intermittent fast and learn why it's important for us from the hormonal standpoint, definitely make sure that you get registered so that you don't end up getting cut off because our class got full. I only take a certain amount of people because I do give you personal one-on-one support and guidance, and I do offer some coaching calls with you, so I can only take so many participants each month. So I am going to jump off for now. If there are any questions, definitely feel free to post them. I always go back through the comments and review them so I can answer questions. And I see some stuff in here, so I'm going to read those really quick. I'll always come back and read them. So Amy, she's my cousin. She just went on a 22-hour fast and she feels amazing. Okay, so Amy's a perfect example. I think yesterday Amy was feeling a little flu-like. She wasn't feeling so great, and that's because she went from a sugar-burning body to today she's a fat-burning body, and today she's energized and feeling amazing, and she fasted for 22 hours. She's only been fasting for, I think today would be her 4th full day. So that's how fast it can happen. And now from the rest of our time together, she's just going to be a fat-burning machine. And Anne is awesome, spreading the word. Good job, girlfriend. We'll get a whole crew of women in here, feeling great. Went up and down the stairs a lot today at home. Awesome. Thanks, Ingrid. Okay, cool. So yeah, so Amy had a tough day yesterday, and it was an amazing day today. So she's over the hump. She is now a fat adapted body. So everything that Amy does from this point forward is just going to be losing fat, because she's burning fat as an energy source. She's no longer burning sugar. She doesn't have to try to. Her body's just going to do that for herself. She's going to sleep better. She's going to have mental clarity. She's going to be in an autophagy state in her body. So her body's going to start healing things that are going on inside of her that she doesn't even know is going on. So we could become this society of people who just stop getting sick. And I mean, come on, who doesn't want to take a chance on that? I will keep you guys posted on the women that are in my current group. So if you are on the fence and you want to get a little bit of a teaser so you can jump in with us, and maybe you're just looking for some stats, I don't know. We aren't really keeping weight loss in my group because we don't care. It's going to happen on its own. All we care about is that we're energized, we're sleeping better, that we are learning how to manage our life around food, that we're feeling confident, that we're feeling energized, that we're looking the way we want to look. And if we happen to lose weight along the way, that, my friends, is just going to be a bonus. And it's going to happen without us even trying. And when have you ever lost weight without having to give up 90% of your life to make it happen? And none of these women are spending hours and hours at the gym. Some of us aren't even working out. It is just that thing that's going to happen for us because our body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. We are not supposed to be overweight. We are not supposed to be hoarding fat. We are not supposed to be pre-diabetic. We are not supposed to be insulin resistant. All of those diseases that we have to deal with today are caused by us. And it's our lack of knowledge on how our body works. And once you learn how your body works, you can reverse all of that. So thank you so much for jumping in with me tonight, you guys. I always appreciate you being here. I know we are all busy people, so I appreciate that you chose to spend some time with me. Like I said, if you are new, make sure that you click that like button. Make sure you're notified when I go live. I try to go live every night. And then if you are catching me on YouTube, I would appreciate if you subscribe and we can keep in touch that way. Always feel free to leave comments if you are catching this on the rebroadcast. I personally go in and make sure that I answer all of your questions and comments. And thank you for stopping by. And I do that on YouTube as well. Tomorrow night I will be live again. I think I might go earlier tomorrow because it's my husband's birthday weekend. So I think we're going to go out on a date night. But I think I'm going to go earlier because I have some things I want to share with you guys. So I will post something on my social media sites so you'll know what time I'm going on. And don't worry, if you miss it, it's always recorded. You can come back and check a rebroadcast later. So thanks so much. I hope you guys are looking and feeling your best and living your most authentic life. That's always our goal. And we will touch base tomorrow.